Alright, so we're going to work on changing some kitchen lights. Now these two lights here have been changed, and it may look to be a simple install, but the trick is these were a can assembly, like a recess fixture that was up in the ceiling, and the hole was very large and it did not have an octagon box, so there's a little trick that I had to do to make that work. So I want to get this one changed out here, and this one is a very large can opening. I want to say it's 8 inches, and those cans, because they were put in back in the 60s, 68 to be precise, are not very what do you want to call it, the R value is not very good. They leak a lot of air. You can feel cold air coming through because they're non-contact insulation fixtures. So we're going to fix that as much as we can with a new fixture, and I'm going to get that taken down, and I'll show you how I install these two here by doing this one over here. Okay, so first of all, if you don't have an outlet in your attic, get one up there, pulling off a light, whatever you have to do, because if you have to do any work in your attic, it's awesome to be able to grab an extension cord and run a light. 2, if you don't have a light like this, you need to watch some of Scout Crafter's videos, because I'm telling you, these lights are awesome. I absolutely love this. It is super handy. It's got a clamp on the top, and it puts the light exactly where you need it in a spot. So here we are in the attic. So if you can tell, we got all sorts of issues going on with this one. So we want to put a flush mount light in the kitchen ceiling. This can light is what was original to the house. You can tell here by these big giant holes here. It's a pretty nice option. This whole can light area is covered in then with this vermiculite, which does a really good job of like sealing up air. It also does a really good job anytime you do any type of remodeling of raining inside the house from the ceiling. So the other thing is the way these bands were put in. They were put in before the drywall, and then the drywall is placed over top, and then they cut their holes or something like that. So I actually came up here with a hacksaw and cut those. I'm going to work on breaking this loose to get this can out of here. When I mounted that other light up, I actually used some drywall fastener anchors right here and just drilled through the fixture, and I just ran the wire through the light because I actually changed how that light was set up. So I got to get that out of here. So I think the next time we come back online, I should have just a big gaping hole here, or maybe a piece of sheetrock with a big gaping hole would be. I'm not sure what the deal is with this. Obviously, those are for something. They may be for lights, that may be for outlets. No, it was for lights. Yeah, that's what it is. It's for lights, and I think this one, the yellow 12-2, comes from the other light, so that they're all 3 on the same switch. So I may just, for now, leave that whole mess in there and just pick this whole works up, set it on the side so I can just deal with the light to get that in, and then come back at a later date and put in like another box. We'll see, because I think those wires might be too short to put all in that box below here. So let me get this out of here. Okay, so like I was saying, up in the attic, there's actually I drilled plastic anchors into the drywall to mount that light, because obviously it's a can light and that was a flush light fixture. But whatever, we're not going into the details of that. So we're going to take this down. Right now it's going to rain asbestos on us here, or vermiculite. Let's see, I'm supposed to pull light bulbs out first. So this can be done if you have an older house and you're thinking, oh man, we're just stuck with these fixtures forever. There's nothing, nothing we can do about it. You can do it. There is a way of getting around it. There's probably more than one way. This is just the way that I did it. So I'm gonna get these screws out here, and then we will pull this fixture down. right. Okay, so those little orange things, those are the anchors that I used. And I had no other way of doing that, so I used these. I think I should be able to get these out, which that'll be fine. So I'm not too worried about the holes here because we're going to cover this all up. So the trick that I'm doing is I bought some broken up drywall pieces from Menards, and we're going to actually lay a whole sheet of drywall over top this hole, and we'll mark a new hole. So let me get that set up and we'll get to it. Alright, so I got my piece of drywall up there. Make sure to cut it short enough, and the width wise make sure that's not too tight, because otherwise you'll be forcing it in there. So that doesn't look too bad. So what I'm using is going to be an octagon box and an octagon box extension that I'm going to stick on. So I'm using the extension to mark the hole, and that's going to be my template then to cut the hole for the octagon box. So I'll have that pretty close. The holes that I still have in the ceiling from those anchors, we can just hit that with some of that fill stuff. We just fill those holes in. The light's going to cover that up anyway, so we're not too concerned about this. And then this we're just going to we're going to center in the hole, I guess, just so that we don't end up with any issues. Obviously I can't push up too hard on this because this whole piece of drywall will move, but you want to get a decent mark around this box so that you can cut it out. And then the step after that, that step is a 2-person. So there we go. We got the box for that, or the markings for that. I can get the drywall knife. We'll cut that open, and then the next step will be to mount the box, and I'll show you how I'm doing that. Okay, so there's the hole in our sheetrock, and I know it doesn't look square, but it really doesn't matter because it's up in the ceiling, you won't see it. So that's what it looks like from the back side. Now, if we were just to use this, because this is what I'm using as my mount here, I don't know if this is a fan box or what, but it goes in between the two joists, and I'm just going to use some screws, some construction screws on each side with the drill, screw it in. This box would not have enough depth, so that's why I got a box extender. So the box extender will go on there, but it'll be too long, so that's why I say it takes 2 people. So I have my wife on the inside, and what she's gonna do, she's gonna tell me when I got this box exactly flush with the drywall, so that this metal edge here is flush with that. When that's flush and I have this connected, then I can screw this off. This will hold in place. Then I have my proper depth. The other thing to note too, what I did, took some foil tape, covered up the holes I wasn't going to use. There's a hole here, just so I don't get all that vermiculite, and then I'll take some caulk and go around this where the screw is in there, and then I usually put tape and caulk around where the wire goes in, just because that vermiculite otherwise will end up running in there. It kind of makes a mess. So I'm going to get the camera set up in the house. She'll be directing this cover through. I'm going to get this back up in the attic, and we're getting close now.
Okay.
That's perfect?
Yeah. Press. Yeah, I think you got it.
Huh?
Yeah.
Still going?
Yeah.
Still going?
Yeah.
Still going?
Yep.
Well, you keep going, man. I got one more to put in here.
Okay, so I can't find my hole patch. I thought we had some, I guess not. So for now, I'm just going to put the light up there. Yeah, that is 12-2 wire. It's probably way overkill for this light, considering it's LED, and we're only on 15 amps. But sometimes that's just the way it goes. And this is the tricky part, trying to do this by yourself, because you got to figure out how you're gonna hold the light and get it started all at the same time. I think last time I had someone hold the light. Okay, so let's try this again, this time with a helper, I think. Maybe we can get it this way. Should have a screwdriver too. Put it in the pocket. Take it out. Phillips screwdriver? What the heck?
Is that big one?
No. Hold this. Right. Oh yeah. So these gotta kind of get tucked up in here. You can see where we're at now. There's one right there. The other one. Yeah. Oh man. I hate that. It's the worst part. Alright, so there it is. Let's go turn the power on downstairs and see if it works. Okay, so I just had them on, they work, but here we go. So, anyway, the history is these two lights were on one switch. This light over here was like a hanging fixture at one point before, after it was a can light. So it was a can light initially, then somebody made it a hanging light, and then I made it a flush mount fluorescent, and now it's an LED. But that was on a single switch over here. And I made that into a three-way switch, and then I tied this light in with the other two kitchen lights because this kitchen was really dark. So now they're all together, and there's a switch over by the oven here. There's one there, the one I showed you, and then there's also one over by brown chair there in the, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. You can see the switch on the wall there, the den, whatever that is. Anyway, so we'll get the cover put on, and I'll take you up in the attic and just show you how that all turned out. Right. Let's get this up here. Okay. Alright, so we're going to put this light up here. You got 3 holes you line up with your metal ring here. Sometimes you gotta work with them a little bit to get them to line up. I don't have this one over here yet. Okay. That one in. Put the little screw on it. This works better if you have 2 people, because this is really hard to do with one person. Probably not impossible, but it's a little bit easier with 2. Alright, so there it is, all completed. Hopefully never have to change again because it's an LED. But yeah, so let's go up in the attic and I will show you how exactly that all worked. But it really plays with the camera's white level, doesn't it? Alright, so I'll take you up. For PPE, I got on my dust mask because it is really dusty up here. I had gloves on, I just took them off. But we just talked today about our safe start and the 4 factors of an accident. You got rushing or complacency, frustration. I think being tired was another one. Anyway, so here's what it looks like. Now, before you make fun of my caulk job, let me explain. My caulk tube that I used looks like that. because the caulk had dried. I don't know how old this tube is, and this is clearly fire rated for the shower, and it dries in 1 hour. It's just bathroom caulk, but like I said, I just wanted to get up those air leaks. So right here there's a little bit of a gap just so I could get this piece in. Slid this piece underneath all this vermiculite and kind of brought it back right over where that hole was. We got this leveled out, ran the screws in here, screws in there, my wire comes down, and then I caulked around where the opening is here, caulked right there where the screw is, and then right where the wire goes in. I couldn't feel any air coming in. Before, obviously you could, because this can here is nothing but holes. So we still got to figure that out, but that's not going to be today. It'll be a different day. Once this caulk is dried, probably tomorrow, I can come back and then rake all this vermiculite in here, kind of settle it out, and then put your 3 inches of insulation over that, and then there's, I don't know if that's 6 or 8 that goes over top of that. So a lot of insulation up in this attic for being an old house. I think it does pretty well for the heat value or whatever. I think that vermiculite helps a lot because that fills everything in. Every time the kids run around and bounce in the house, that just settles out more and more into all the little cracks and crevices and stuff. So alright, that's going to be it for now. So if you think you can't do it, you probably can't, but if you think you can, there's a way. So alright, we'll catch you later.